Most people assume Star Wars The Force Awakens is packed with CGI from beginning to end. But what if I told you that some of the film's biggest moments, from enormous alien creatures and the legendary Millennium Falcon to BB 8 and the breathtaking lightsaber duel, were created using real sets, practical effects, and groundbreaking engineering? Behind every unforgettable scene was an incredible team of artists, stunt performers, and engineers who turned movie magic into reality. So, let's step behind the scenes and discover how The Force Awakens was truly brought to life. The massive junk dealer Unkar Plutt, whom Rey encounters on her home planet Jakku, was portrayed by actor Simon Pegg, and bringing this grotesque character to life was a remarkable achievement in practical creature design, prosthetic makeup, and physical engineering. Rather than relying on a fully digital CGI character, the filmmakers built an enormous practical creature suit. The creature effects team crafted Unkar Plutt's bloated body and sagging skin using layers of foam latex and silicone, giving the character an incredibly lifelike appearance. The suit itself was extremely heavy, making it difficult for a single performer to wear and move around in. To enhance the realism even further, artists sculpted multiple layers of silicone facial details, including oily lips, deep wrinkles, and textured folds, ensuring every close-up looked convincingly grotesque, even under the harsh desert sunlight. Performing inside the suit was just as demanding as building it. Simon Pegg filmed the role in the scorching heat of Abu Dhabi's real desert, where temperatures inside the costume became almost unbearable. To prevent overheating, he wore a specially designed water-cooled undergarment beneath the creature suit. Chilled water continuously circulated through the cooling vest, helping him withstand the intense heat throughout filming. The very first battle in The Force Awakens, known as the Tunnel Village attack, is one of the film's greatest examples of practical filmmaking blended seamlessly with visual effects. While directing the movie, J.J. Abrams wanted audiences to feel like they were watching a real Star Wars world, instead of one overwhelmed by CGI. So when the First Order invades the Jakku village in search of Poe Dameron, much of the destruction, smoke, and chaos was created physically rather than inside a computer. To film this iconic sequence, the production traveled to the Rubal Khali Desert in Abu Dhabi, also known as the Liwa Desert. Right in the middle of the unforgiving landscape, the production designers constructed the entire Tunnel Village as a full-scale practical set. Every hut, tent, moisture evaporator, and scrapyard prop was built from real construction materials so they could burn, collapse, and react naturally during the explosions. When the First Order stormtroopers arrived, the front sections of their atmospheric assault landers were built as full-size practical sets, complete with working hydraulic ramps. The bright atmospheric glow behind the soldiers as they marched out of the ships wasn't created with CGI. Instead, the effect came from enormous LED lighting arrays mounted inside the landing craft, combined with theatrical fog machines that produced the dramatic backlighting seen on screen. To create the intense nighttime battle, special effects supervisor Chris Corbold and his team installed underground gas lines and remotely controlled explosive charges beneath the village set. Because the desert winds constantly blew away the smoke, the crew operated dozens of heavy-duty industrial smoke generators throughout the night to maintain the thick atmospheric haze visible across the battlefield. Massive lighting towers illuminated the entire location while simulating the landing lights from Kylo Ren's command shuttle. It was this combination of full-scale practical sets, real explosions, physical lighting, and carefully restrained visual effects that transformed the opening battle of The Force Awakens into one of the most immersive and realistic action sequences ever seen in the Star Wars saga. The return of the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars The Force Awakens wasn't just a nostalgic callback. It became one of the most ambitious practical set-building projects in modern film history. Director J.J. Abrams and his production design team shared one clear vision: make the Star Wars universe feel as real and tangible as possible. Instead of relying heavily on green screens and digital CGI, they wanted the actors to interact with a fully functional, life-size spaceship. Back in the original 1977 Star Wars, limited budget and studio space meant only half of the Falcon's exterior could be built. But for The Force Awakens, the filmmakers went far beyond that. At Pinewood Studios in London and RAF Greenham Common Air Base, the crew constructed a complete 113-foot full-scale Millennium Falcon, making it the most accurate physical version of the iconic ship ever built. Even the X-Wing starfighter surrounding it were full-size practical models, giving the entire set an incredible sense of realism before a single visual effect was added. The interior was even more impressive. In the original trilogy, the cockpit, corridors, and main hold were built as separate sections. For The Force Awakens, however, the production team created one massive interconnected interior set. This allowed the actors to walk naturally from the loading ramp through the ship's narrow hallways and directly into the cockpit without any hidden cuts. Because every section was physically connected, the camera crew could capture long, immersive tracking shots that made the Falcon feel like a real, explorable spacecraft. The level of detail throughout the ship was extraordinary. Rather than modernizing the interior with sleek futuristic displays, the designers intentionally preserved the retro sci-fi aesthetic of the original trilogy. Using original Star Wars blueprints from the Lucasfilm archives, they recreated every wall panel with hand-installed scrap metal, machine components, exposed wiring, switches, and mechanical surface details, known in the film industry as greebles. Even the cockpit controls weren't just decorative props. Nearly every lever, button, and dial was fully functional, responding with working lights and indicators whenever the actors interacted with them. One of the Falcon's most iconic features, the famous Dedrick hollow chess table, was also recreated with incredible attention to detail. While the game board itself was built as a practical prop, J.J. Abrams brought back legendary stop-motion artist Phil Tippett, who had animated the original creatures in the 1977 film. Before any digital enhancements were added, the holographic monsters were first brought to life using real miniature puppets animated through the classic stop-motion technique, preserving the charm of the original movies, while blending seamlessly with modern filmmaking. BB-8 may have become one of the most beloved droids in the entire Star Wars saga, but its journey actually began with an incredibly simple sketch. Director Abrams first drew the character on a napkin, describing the idea as nothing more than two circles, one inside the other, with a little head on top. Inspired by the timeless concept art of Ralph McQuarrie, the design was transformed into a fully functional robot that could exist in the real world. The name BB-8 was even chosen because its shape resembled the letters B and the number 8. To meet the film's different production needs, the creature effects team built 7 separate physical versions of BB-8, each designed for a specific type of scene. The version used most frequently on set was known as the puppet or wiggler version. In this setup, puppeteers Dave Chapman and Brian Herring, dressed in green suits, controlled BB-8 using hidden rods, handles, and support rigs. Their movements gave the droid its expressive personality, while the performers and control equipment were digitally removed later during post-production. For scenes that required BB-8 to move completely on its own, the team built a fully autonomous remote-controlled version. Powered by omnidirectional wheels, gyroscopes, and an advanced magnetic drive system, this robot could roll independently without any visible support. It famously made a surprise public debut during Star Wars Celebration 2015, leaving fans amazed that BB-8 was a real working robot rather than a CGI creation. Perhaps the most impressive part of BB-8's design was the illusion that its head floated freely above its body without any visible connection. In reality, there was no physical neck at all. Inside the spherical body sat a motorized internal chassis that always remained upright while the outer shell rolled around it. Powerful magnets were mounted on the top of the internal mechanism, with matching magnets hidden beneath BB-8's head. As the internal chassis moved, the magnetic force guided the head across the surface of the rolling sphere, creating the illusion that it was effortlessly gliding and balancing on top of the body throughout every movement. The climatic lightsaber duel between Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren on Starkiller Base is one of the most iconic moments in The Force Awakens. Set in the middle of a snow-covered forest, this unforgettable battle combined massive practical set construction, interactive lighting, and months of stunt training to create one of the most visually striking duels in Star Wars history. Rather than filming inside a real snowy forest, the production transformed Pinewood Studios' legendary 007 stage in London into one of the largest indoor winter environments ever built for a feature film. The production design team constructed a complete 360-degree forest using real pine trees, handcrafted rock formations, dense fog effects, and thousands of pounds of artificial snow. To recreate the look of freshly fallen snow, the crew used environmentally friendly paper snow mixed with specialized optical materials that reflected light like real ice, giving the trees and ground an incredibly authentic frozen appearance. One of the biggest technical challenges was making the environment physically react to every lightsaber strike. Hidden throughout the set were remote-controlled pyrotechnic charges and hydraulic mechanisms. Whenever Kylo Ren slashed a tree or struck the ground, the practical effects system caused trees to splinter and collapse, the frozen earth to crack apart, and showers of sparks to erupt in real time. These practical effects gave every lightsaber hit genuine weight, making the battlefield dangerous and grounded instead of relying entirely on computer-generated destruction. Another major reason the duel feels so realistic was the use of practical illuminated lightsabers. In earlier Star Wars films, actors typically fought with plain wooden or plastic rods, while the glowing blades were added later in post-production. For The Force Awakens, however, J.J. Abrams introduced custom-built, ultra-bright LED lightsaber props. As Kylo Ren's red crossguard saber collided with Rey's blue lightsaber, the colored light naturally illuminated the actors' faces, costumes, and the surrounding snow. This real interactive lighting gave the visual effects artists a much stronger foundation, allowing the final digital blades to blend seamlessly into the environment, while making the dark force feel far more cinematic. The choreography was equally intentional. The stunt coordinator, C.C. Smith, designed the fight to be completely different from the elegant, acrobatic duels of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Instead of polished martial arts, the goal was to create a fight that felt raw, brutal, and emotionally driven. While Unkar Plutt was brought to life using an enormous practical creature suit, Moshe Kanata, portrayed by Academy Award-winning actress Lupita Nyong'o, was created using an entirely different approach. Instead of prosthetics, the filmmakers relied on cutting-edge motion capture technology, combined with advanced digital artistry, to preserve every nuance of the actress's performance. Because Moshe Kanata is a 3-foot-tall alien who is over 1,000 years old, portraying her with a traditional creature suit simply wasn't practical. Director J.J. Abrams wanted the character to retain Lupita Nyong'o's natural performance while giving her the freedom of a completely digital body. During filming, Lupita Nyong'o performed every scene wearing a specifically designed gray motion capture suit. More than 100 tiny tracking markers were placed across her face, while a custom head-mounted camera recorded every subtle facial expression with extraordinary precision. Every blink, eye movement, smile, and lip motion was captured in real time, allowing the visual effects team to faithfully transfer her performance onto the digital character. To make Moshe feel truly alive, ILM used advanced rendering techniques, such as subsurface scattering, which simulates the way light naturally travels beneath real skin before reflecting back outward. Combined with highly detailed wrinkle animation and realistic eye rendering, these techniques gave Moshe Kanata remarkably expressive facial features and a warm, believable personality. Although she exists entirely as a CGI creation, every motion audiences see on screen is rooted in Lupita Nyong'o's original performance, making Moshe one of the film's most convincing digital characters. If you enjoyed exploring these behind-the-scenes secrets of Star Wars, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the practical effects and filmmaking techniques behind your favorite movies.